Let us build a Nigeria where our phones do not become weapons against one another. Let us build a digital space that strengthens national security rather than weakening it. Let us build a generation that understands that being influential is good, but being responsible is better. And let us build a movement that will stand in good times and difficult times for the peace, unity, security, and development of our great nation. Today, we begin a movement of citizens who believes that peace is everybody's responsibility, a movement of digital citizens who puts the national interest above temporary excitement of online conflicts, a movement that says different opinions, one Nigeria, different backgrounds, one future, different voices, one responsibility. Members of the press, representatives of government and security institutions, leaders of civil society and the private sectors, members of Nigerian Institute of Social Media Analysts, fellow Nigerians, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we are not merely gathered to unveil another initiative. We are gathered because Nigeria must begin to take the battle of peace seriously in the place where millions of Nigerians live, communicate, argue, learn, influence others, and form opinions every day. And that is the digital space. The battle for Nigerians' unity is no longer fought only in our communities, markets, places of worship, political rallies, or the streets. A significant part of that battle is now being fought on our screens. It is fought through the phone in our hands, through a post, through a comment, through a video, through a voice note, through a headline, through an image, and sometimes through one unverified piece of information from one person to another. A single message can travel from one community to another in seconds. A false allegation can reach millions before the truth has even found its voice. A manipulated video can create anger before anyone asks where it came from. A careless post can deepen suspicion between people who have never met one another. That is the reality of the Nigeria we live in today. Nigeria had approximately 109 million internet users by the end of 2025, while the country had about 47.8 million social media user identities. Social media use also expanded dramatically, according to the latest available digital data. This represents extraordinary opportunity for national development, but it also means that irresponsible communication now has extraordinary capacity to cause harm. And when we consider that 89% of Nigerians surveyed by Afrobarometer reported getting news from social media regularly, we must ask ourselves a serious question. What happens to a country when the platforms where millions of its citizens receive information can also be used to spread falsehood, hatred, manipulation, and fear? That is the question before Nigeria. That is a part of the reason we are here today. Nigeria is sitting before a digital peace challenge. Let me be clear. We are not against social media. We are not against freedom of speech. We are not against criticism of government. We are not against disagreement. In fact, disagreement is a part of democracy. A strong nation is not a nation where everybody thinks alike. A strong nation is a nation where people with different opinions can disagree without destroying one another. The problem is not that Nigerians have voices. The problem begins when our voices are used without responsibility. The problem begins when influence becomes more important than truth, when monetization becomes more important than national stability, when chasing followers becomes more important than human consequences, when clouds becomes more valuable than peace. When a person sees a sensitive story and asks, how many views will this give me? Instead of asking, is this true? And what could happen if I share it? This is one of the most dangerous dimensions of the present digital environment. The business models and algorithms of digital platforms can reward attention and engagement. Unfortunately, outrage, controversy, and sensational content can attract attention quickly. That creates a powerful incentive for some people to exaggerate, provoke, or publish before verifying. But Nigeria cannot afford to make national peace the price of digital popularity. UNESCO and NISMA has warned that the rapid spread of information, disinformation, and hate speech through digital platforms poses serious risks to social cohesion, peace, and stability. International evidence also increasingly show how AI-generated and manipulated content can create new threats to information integrity, especially around elections. The digital space can accelerate conflicts. Not every conflict begins online, but the digital space can give conflict speed, scale, and permanence. A local misunderstanding can become a national argument. An unverified security incident can create panic across several states. A political disagreement can be presented as an ethnic conflict. An individual crime can be wrongly attributed to an entire religion, tribe, or community. A manipulated video from another country or another period can be presented as something happening in Nigeria today. A false statement can be placed in the mouth of a public official. Artificial intelligence can now make this challenge even more complicated through increasingly convincing, synthetic, and manipulated content. Before now, a rumor could travel from one person to another. Today, a rumor travels from one phone to millions of phones. And by the time the truth arrives, the damage may already have been done. This is why digital peace is no longer merely a social media issue. Digital peace is now a national security issue. The United Nations, NISMA, and other international institutes increasingly recognize misinformation, disinformation, and hate speech as threats that can undermine peace, security, democracy, and social cohesion. In Nigeria itself, earlier UNDP conflict assessment specifically identified social media as capable of carrying misinformation and conflict-generating messages harmful to peace and stability. We are approaching a very sensitive national period. As Nigeria moves closer to the 2027 general elections, we must not wait until election crisis begins before we start talking about preventions. The time to build digital peace is before the fire starts. Election period can bring strong emotions, political competitions, religious narratives, ethnic sentiments, economic frustrations, campaign propagandas, false claim, personal attacks, and increasingly manipulated digital content. The question is, are we preparing Nigerians to recognize and reject information designed to divide them? Are we preparing young people not to become digital foot soldiers of hatred? Are we preparing influencers to understand that influence comes with responsibility? Are we preparing political actors to campaign without setting citizens against one another? Are we preparing institutions to communicate quickly, clearly, and credibly when dangerous falsehoods begin to circulate? UNESCO has specifically warned about the risk the misinformation, disinformation, and inflammatory online communication and AI-generated content can pose to electoral integrity and conflict prevention. Nigeria must understand this. The next nation crisis may not announce itself with the sound of violence first. It may begin with notification, a post, a video, a fabricated result, a false accusation, a manipulated recording, a deliberate misleading headline, a coordinated campaign of hatred. And if we are not prepared, millions of citizens can become participants in spreading a crisis without even knowing it. That is why I describe this moment as a digital time bomb that requires national attention. Not because the digital space is inherently bad, no, but because an enormously powerful communication environment without sufficient responsibility, information integrity, and peace consciousness can become extremely dangerous. Why NDPA? NDPA is the reason for the creation of the National Peace Digital Peace Ambassadors. National Digital Peace Ambassador is a national movement of responsible citizens who believe that Nigeria must come first when it comes to the preservation of our peace, unity, security, and collective future. We are creating a platform for Nigerians who understand that before we are separated by political parties, ethnic identities, religious differences, or personal interests, we share one country. And whether, excuse me, whether we speak Hausa, Igbo, Ijaw, Efik, or any other many languages that make Nigeria beautiful, Nigeria is our common home. We may disagree about how Nigeria should be governed. We may support different political parties. We may criticize government policies. We may hold different opinions. But we must never allow our differences to become a weapon against continued existence of unity and peace of our nation. NDPA is therefore not a political party. It is not a partisan movement. It is not an ethnic organization. It is not a religious organization. It is not a platform for defending an individual politician or a government. And it must never become one. NDPA is about Nigeria. It is about citizens who are prepared to say, I have a voice and I will use it responsibly. I have influence and I will not use it to destroy my country. I may disagree with you, but I will not dehumanize you. I may criticize my government, but I will not deliberately spread falsehood. I may belong to a political party, but Nigeria is bigger than my party. I may be proud of my tribe, but Nigeria is not the enemy of my tribe. I may be devoted to my faith, but I will not use religion to promote hatred against my fellow citizens. This is the spirit of NDPA. What will NDPA do to everyone? The National Digital Peace Ambassadors will work to build and strengthen national culture of responsible digital citizenship. We intend to promote peace-oriented engagements, encouraging Nigerians to communicate without deliberately acting unnecessarily hostile, panic, or division. Information responsibility, promoting the culture of pause, verify, and think before sharing, because not everything that comes to your phone deserves to leave your phone. Countering harmful narrative non-violently. NDPA will challenge misinformation, disinformation, incitement, and narrative capable of undermining national peace through lawful, peaceful, fact-based, and responsible engagement. A response to dangerous communication must not be more dangerous than the communication itself. We will not fight hatred with hatred. We will not fight falsehood with, we will fight falsehood with facts. We will answer division with dialogue. We will answer incitement with responsibility. And we will answer destructive narratives with stronger narrative of one Nigeria. National unity advocacy. We will promote the understanding that Nigeria's diversity is not a weakness. Our diversity is one of our greatest national assets. Digital peace and education. We will encourage greater awareness among young people, content creators, influencers, students, professionals, communities about the consequences of irresponsible digital behaviors. Stakeholder collaboration. NDPA seeks to work with government institutions, security agencies, the media, civil society, educational institutions, technology companies, traditional institutions, religious leaders, the private sectors, and responsible citizens. Because this challenge is too big for one organization. A call to government and security institutions. To the federal government, state governments, and relevant public institutions, we say digital peace deserves to be treated as part of national prevention strategy. Government communication cannot remain disconnected from the speed at which falsehood now travels. There must be stronger investment in timely and credible public communication, media and information literacy, early warning system for dangerous digital narratives, conflict-sensitive communication, collaboration between security institutions and responsible digital stakeholders, public education on misinformation and manipulated content, election period information, integrity, youth engagement, and responsible digital citizenship. But let me also say this clearly. This cannot simply be about controlling the citizens or silencing criticism. A peaceful digital space must not mean a silent digital space. Nigeria needs responsible freedom, not fearful silence. Citizens must be free to speak. Journalists must be free to report. People must be free to criticize. But freedom must travel with responsibility. Truth must matter. Human dignity must matter. National peace must matter. A call to social media platforms and technology companies. To technology companies and platform operators, Nigeria is too important for the risk of our digital environment to be ignored. Platforms must recognize that the technologies can influence public discourse, public trust, and social cohesion at enormous scale. The challenge of harmful content, coordinated manipulation, information, disinformation, misinterpretation, and increasingly sophisticated AI-generated content requires stronger collaboration with Nigerian stakeholders while respecting human rights and legitimate freedom of expression. This is a shared responsibility, a call to the media, to our colleagues in the media. You remain one of the strongest pillars of national stability. At a time when everybody with a smartphone can publish information, professional journalism has become even more important. The country needs verification. The country needs context. The country needs responsible reporting. The country needs journalists who understand that sensitive situations being first is not more important than being accurate. The press can claim and calm a nation. The press can also unintentionally intensify fear. The role in the coming period is therefore historic, a call to content creators and influencers. To every influencer and content creator, you may think you are only creating content, but someone is learning from you. Someone is copying you. Someone is believing you. Someone is making decisions because of your words. Influence is not just a privilege. Influence is responsibility. Influence is also truth. Do not sell Nigerians peace for views. Do not monetize hatred. Do not manufacture controversy simply because controversy pays. Do not turn ethnic groups into entertainment. Do not turn religion into context of warfare. Do not turn insecurity into a competition for engagement. And do not use the suffering of Nigerians as a ladder for digital relevance. Your platform can entertain, but it can also educate. It can divide, but it can also unite. It can create fear, but it can also create hope. Choose what you want your influence to do to Nigeria today. A call to the Nigerian citizen. And finally, to every Nigerian, NDPA is not asking you to become a politician. We are not asking you to be famous. We are not asking you to have 1 million viewers or followers. We are asking you to become responsible. We are asking you to be responsible, to check, verify before you share. Is it true? Is it verifiable? Is it necessary? Could it cause harm? Am I helping Nigeria or hurting Nigeria? Sometimes the greatest contribution you can make to the national peace is the message you refuse to forward, a lie you refuse to believe, a hateful argument you refuse to join, a person you refuse to insult, a falsehood you choose to correct, a moment of anger in which you chose peace. Never underestimate the power of one responsible citizen, because nations are not destroyed only by those who deliberately create problems. Sometimes nations suffer because millions of otherwise good participants participate carelessly. Why membership is free is that the National Digital Peace Ambassadors should not just be for people that can afford to pay for it. We want the teacher, the students, the journalists, the civil servants, the security personnel, the content creators, the business owners, the professionals, the community leaders, the religious leaders, the traditional leaders, the young Nigerians with a smartphone, and the elderly Nigeria with the wisdom. We want citizens from every part of the country who believe that Nigeria can still become better. People who may disagree politically, but can still shake hands as Nigerians. People who understand that no election is worth the destruction of one country. People who understand that after political campaigns, we must still live together. People who understand that no individual is greater than our country, Nigeria. People who understand that we have no other country to return to if we destroy this one country. A message as we unveil NDPA today. Today, we declare that the digital space must not become a marketplace for hatred. It must not become a factory for division. It must not become an uncontrolled weapon against national unity. It must not become a space where responsible citizens can It must become a space where responsible citizens can disagree intelligently, where facts can defeat falsehood, where peace can be louder than provocation, where unity can be stronger than division, where influence can save nation development, and where every Nigerian understands that the freedom to speak comes with responsibility to consider the consequences of what we say before we do so. Appreciation to NISMA. At this point, I wish to express a profound appreciation to the management and entire leadership of the Nigerian Institute of Social Media Analysts, NISMA, for the vision, courage, commitment behind the creation of this all-important initiative. The creation of NDPA demonstrates an understanding that social media analysis and digital engagement must go beyond observing what happens online. We must also be prepared to ask, what can we do to make the digital space safer? What can we do to make it more responsible? What can we do to ensure that technology contributes to national peace instead of national division? For this vision, we thank NISMA. We thank the management. We thank every person whose ideas, commitments, and belief have contributed to bringing the National Digital Peace Ambassador to these important points. Ladies and gentlemen, Nigeria is facing many challenges, but the future of this country must not surrender to hatred. It must not surrender to misinformation. It must not surrender to those who profit from division. It must not surrender to those who use ethnicity, religion, politics, and insecurity to turn Nigeria against Nigerians. The responsible voice of Nigeria must rise. The peaceful voices must organize. The truthful voices must become stronger. The voices that believe in unity must refuse to remain silent. That is why we are here. That is why NDPA is here. That is why we have called you all to join us, not to take control of Nigeria, but to help build culture of responsibility. Not to silence Nigerians, but to encourage Nigerians to use their voices wisely. Not to eliminate disagreement, but to ensure that disagreement does not become destruction. Today, we begin a movement of citizens who believes that peace is everybody's responsibility. A movement of digital citizens who puts the national interest above temporary excitement of online conflicts. A movement that says different opinions, one Nigeria. Different backgrounds, one future. Different voices, one responsibility. Let us build a Nigeria where our phones do not become weapons against one another. Let us build a digital space that strengthens national security rather than weakening it. Let us build a generation that understands that being influential is good, but being responsible is better. And let us build a movement that will stand in good times and difficult times for the peace, unity, security, and development of our great nation. We have no other country to call our own. We have no other Nigeria to protect. Therefore, let us protect her. Let us unite her. Let us speak responsibly for her. Let us promote peace for her. And together, let us build responsible digital voices for a united Nigeria. Thank you, and God bless the federal